for readiness for COVID, correct? Then I talked about Limitation Act. You can watch that. Then I told about how CSR spending now is moving towards COVID. Most of the companies are going there, right? Then in that previous video ending, I told you we will be doing the 10 relaxations from MCA. So this is all about Companies Act. So this is useful for mainly company law of CS executive and CS professional. Definitely it's useful for anyone who's studying company law. It could be CA students, CMA students, anyone who has company law as their exam. This video will be helpful for those students. So please make note of all these points. This is not there in public domain. I've just gathered from different places and we are discussing this. So let us have a look at this. So these are the 10 different amendments. First, we'll have a look at each one of them and then we'll go in detail. So the first thing is no additional fees. So no additional fees means we have different forms which we have to file to MCA. It could be MGT 14, it could be AOC 4, MGT 7. These are regular forms. When a director is appointed, when a company is allotting shares, when director is resigning, every year you have to file the balance sheet, P&L account, then annual return. For everything, we must file form to MCA, correct? So same thing, now we are giving a relaxation. What MCA is telling, no additional fees. So if you look at section 403 of Companies Act, we have concept of normal fees and additional fees. So for every form you file to MCA, that is to ROC, you give a filing fees, correct? And this filing fees has to be within a time limit. So for example, you appoint a director. When you appoint a director, you have 30 days time to file that form. So you have to pay normal filing fees. Now, if you can't pay within 30 days, normally the rule is additional fees. It can be 2 times up to even 12 times additional fees can go, and after that even 100 rupees per day. For every day delay, 100 rupees will get extra. So these kind of things used to be a big burden, but companies had to do it within time limit. But now because of COVID, because of people are not able to move around, companies are not functioning properly, what we are going to be doing is government is going to give you no additional fees. So normal fees you can do it. So even the ones who did not file for many years, this is the time they can escape. They can file these forms without additional fees. So because of this problem, everybody gets a relaxation. I'll discuss that in detail. First, I'm just doing overview. Then CARO. CARO is the form which is given by the auditors of the company, all the chartered accountants. That had to be from this financial year, but now it will be applicable for 2020-21. Then we talk about 15% debentures in specified instruments. There you have a relaxation. Then IBC section number 4, they have given relaxation. Deposit reserve, which we have to create for 20%, now even there you have a relaxation, right? Then we come to board meeting intervals. Board meeting intervals, usually what do we study? 120 days gap. You should not have more than 120 days gap between 2 board meetings. Now we are going to get extra 60 days. As you can see on the screen here, extra 60 days you're going to get. Independent directors meeting, that has been relaxed right now. Then we have concept of resident director. At least one director of a company should be resident in India. They don't say Indian person, it could be foreign, whatever. One person should be in India for 182 days in the year, correct? Now that rule has been removed like this. Then additional 6 months time is given for INC 20A. I'll study all this in detail. I'm giving you overview. Then video conferencing meetings you can do for everything, for board meetings. For every item you can do video conferencing meeting. Now that is the important thing. Before you could do board meeting for most of the things except few things, correct? I even told in my previous video on SuperProfs Live, correct? So what are these 10 amendments? So 10 relaxations from the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. during this phase because of COVID. Everybody is having a problem to function. Now I'll study each one of this in detail with you. Okay. Yeah. So the first one is no additional filing fees. So let us look at the uh, press release given by the ministry. This is what they say. No additional fees shall be charged for late filing during a moratorium period of 1st April to 30th September. So now what is the meaning of moratorium period? So this is the first point which I'm discussing with you. So it is a temporary termination of activity. Temporary termination of activity. Moratorium. It is not permanent. So it is for a time limit. So when we don't have additional filing fees, 1st April to 30th September. 1st April to 30th September, you don't have to worry about any additional filing fees. So if you see here, they're saying irrespective of its due date, correct? No moratorium 1st April to 30th September, irrespective of due date, which will not only reduce the compliance burden, but it will also help the companies to make a fresh start. So there is also something called as companies fresh start scheme. We have one more session also on SuperProfs, so I'll be covering that time. Now we'll concentrate on these 10 points. So now, see, even in a crisis, there is some advantage. All the companies who did not file documents all these years, now this is the chance for them. Because of this problem, actually it is advantage for them. Say they are telling 1st April to 30th September, you can file all the old forms, whatever you have not filed, irrespective of its due date, and you can escape. Basically, that's what they're telling. So that's what we understood. Then we talk about mandatory requirement to hold board meetings, which is a period of 120 days. Now we will be giving extra 60 days. So if you see here, board meetings shall be extended for a period of 60 days till next 2 quarters, till 30th September. So you don't have to worry of maximum gap of 120 days. Now it can be 180 days. Why? Because people are not able to go to office, companies are not able to function. So how will you do board meeting? Directors, and see, practically we have to see. See, I can tell this because I'm a practicing company secretary. Many directors are in different states, different countries. So how will they come together and meet? So it's not possible. Even if they can do video conferencing meeting, there are a lot of constraints, because especially in countries like US, they're suffering a lot, right? So directors can't function, and this is the time where they are not worried about board meeting. They have much more serious existential problems, correct? So that is why this is the amendment. Then I told you Caro. So let us look at that Caro. Applicability of company's auditors report order. So this, along with the auditors report, that is independent auditors report, the chartered accountants of the company, who we call statutory auditor, has to give this Caro. And Caro keeps amending from time to time. Now they are told Caro will be applicable from the financial year 1920. But now what is the government is telling? Caro order 2020 shall be for financial year 2021, means 1 year extra we are getting. So companies get 1 year extra because they cannot concentrate on all these additional complaints. First, they should, once lockdown is over, everything is back to normal, they have to come back, make sure the company is running. That is their first focus. You can't add additional burden, additional disclosure for them right now. So company will get this relaxation. So Caro is from next year. So please make note of this amendment. Very, very crucial. Okay. Next, we come to yes, independent directors. As per Schedule 4 of Companies Act. So Companies Act has how many schedules? 7. Yes, we have totally 7 schedules in Companies Act. In that, schedule number 4 is independent directors. So independent directors are required to hold one meeting without the attendance of non-independent directors, especially in listed companies, public companies. This becomes very crucial. So for the year 1920, if the independent directors have not been able to hold one meeting also till now, If they already held, no problem. But if somebody is there who have not been able to hold, the same shall not be viewed as a violation. So even if this is a mandatory law, if you have not been able to do, and now in March all this lockdown came, if you don't do, it's okay. Mafi, basically, no problem. Okay. Then we come to the fifth amendment. So I hope you're understanding. Requirement to create deposit reserve of 20%. So here we have section number 73, 74, 75, 76 and 76A. All deposit related provisions are coming into picture. So here deposit reserve of 20% has to be created as per the deposit provisions. That is Companies Act 2013. Very clearly that. So 20% of deposits which are maturing during the year should have been kept by 30th April as a reserve, 20%. So if you have 100 crores deposits, 20%. 20 crores you should have kept in a separate account as on 30th April 2020. But now you are going to get time till 30th June. So you're getting 2 months extra time. Why? Again, see, when a huge disease pandemic like this happens, everything gets changed. The whole world will change. So this law is nothing in front of that, correct? So we all have to adapt to this new laws and new amendments which is there. So deposits especially is very strict. See, here they are not telling don't create the reserve. That time it will be against the depositors. See, depositors are protected by Companies Act. They have been given highest protection. And company deposits is one of the investment options for a lot of general public. See, what are the options for public to invest? They'll invest where FD, or they have a savings bank account, or they invest in mutual fund or stock. Each one has a different risk element, or they invest in PPF, correct? Or they can invest in real estate, they can invest in gold, so many things. But there is also one option where corporate deposits are there, what we call deposits under Companies Act. So many people would have invested their money there, so they have to be kept safe. So now government cannot tell the company you have to create 20%. So don't create this year, all COVID problem is there. No, because they have to take care of company and the depositors. It's a very fine balance. So that is why what they will do, they are telling we are going to give company 2 months extra. So company is also happy and depositors feel secure. Okay, my money is safe. Correct? That is that. So they are giving extra time. So these are all relaxations. These are not permanent amendments. After this crisis is over, maybe maybe June, July, and all, they'll remove all these things. So right now it's important. And for exam, you have to write this. You'll get extra marks compared to all your other friends who don't write all this. So if you're attending this session, very good. You're getting the chance to know all this. So sixth point, requirement to invest 15% of debentures maturing during a particular year in specified instruments before 30th April may be done by 30th June. Very same concept, very similar concept. How we have deposits, same way we have debentures. Correct? Debentures is nothing but a debt instrument. Again, a lot of general public would have invested in the debentures of the company. We have to protect them. So this 15% debentures, when we look at the debenture related provisions, it has been told very clearly where they're talking about 15% debentures during the year should be invested in specified instruments. Now, government is telling you have to do it, but we are going to give you 2 months extra time to do it. That's all. They're not saying don't do it. They're going to give you extra time. Yes. Yeah. So that is about that. Now we will come to seventh point. Interesting. See, now there are many new companies. Many companies are registered now, right? What do they do? So newly incorporated companies have to file a commencement of business certificate within 6 months. So that means once you get your incorporation certificate, you had to open bank account, correct? Then take that bank account photocopy, sign it, then file INC 20A saying that we put the money. What money? Capital, initial capital. Subscribers have put the subscription money. Now we can start the business. So company name is there. Then you get incorporation certificate. After that, within 6 months time, you had to file Form INC 20A. As you can see here, I have written here INC 20A, which is a form to tell that company is ready and it wants to commence business. Now what the government is telling, additional time of 6 months shall be allowed for newly incorporated companies who have not yet filed INC 20A. If you have filed, no problem. But if you have not yet filed, you are going to get basically additional 6 months. So almost 1 year you are going to get. 1 year from your incorporation, you have time to file INC 20A. That is the concept which we have. So if you see all of this, wherever companies are going to have a burden, government is reducing it right now. So please write these things in exam. Many students will not write it. I want you to write it. Yes, resident director next. See, resident director, Companies Act says that any one director of the company should be resident in India. They don't say resident of India. That means even a foreign director could be. So there are some companies, there are only foreign directors. But at least one person should stay in India for 182 days, correct? In every year. Now, section 149, they've told, if you don't stay, it shall not be treated as violation. Because some directors may have gone back to their home country, or other directors are stuck somewhere. This year, we cannot tell be here, be there, because everybody is facing this problem across the world, not just here, right? So this is what I wanted to tell you. Resident director, we don't have to worry about resident director this year. Okay, this is the relaxation. See, now you may be thinking, okay, sir, now they're given this, they remove this. Why should we know this? Why should we write an exam? I have exam in December. I have exam next year. It is not about exam only. Let us say after 2 years, some company, we find out that, oh, this year this company did not do all these things. Why? It is non-compliance. No. That time company will tell government had given us relaxation because of this COVID-19 crisis. Whole world was locked down and laws were amended, and that time we were given this chance. That is why we didn't do this. So it is always for future. It is don't think only about exam and all that. Think like a CS, CA, CMA lawyer that you're already working. How are these things going to impact you? That time you'll understand the concepts easily, right? Don't study only theory wise. Yeah. Next, we talk about due to the emerging financial distress of IBC. So not only Companies Act, we even have IBC. Yeah. It has been decided to raise the threshold default of section 4 of IBC to 1 crore. So now it is 1 lakh. For 1 lakh also, you have to go to this IBC related provisions, go to NCLT. It will become too many cases, correct? And it's additional burden. And now I told you in my previous video on SuperProfs also that NCLT is only not functioning. NCLT is only closed. So when they come back, there'll be so many pending cases. They don't want every small cases also. That is why they're telling only default, which is up to 1 crore. That will go to NCLT under IBC right now. Correct? That is what they're saying. In current situation continues beyond 30th April 2020, we may consider suspending section number 7, 9 and 10. So the government is also telling in IBC will give you more relaxation if this problem does not solve. Of course, we should all hope it solves quickly, but if there is no solution, that time even the section 7, 9 and 10 of IBC will be given relaxation 6 months to stop the companies into insolvency proceedings. Because now many companies are going to lose money. Many companies we have already stopped production. So you can't suddenly bounce back. It takes time. So in this process, some companies can't repay their loan. Of course, government has given 3 months moratorium for term loans, but still, when they come back after 3 months or so, you can't immediately repay the loans. That took the loans which individual take maybe lakhs or maybe even 1 crore. Companies would have taken 50 crore, 100 crore, 500 crores loan. So it's not easy to repay so quickly. So that is why they're telling we will give you extra time. We will not call you as insolvent company, basically. See here, stop companies at large from being forced into insolvency proceedings. So we'll give you extra time, 6 months, so that you don't have to become a bankrupt company. You don't have to go on IBC and look for a solution. Okay. Then, yeah, that is the 8th point. We finished. 9th point. We come to 10th point. 10th point I actually covered in my previous video, but I'll just revise it now so that you understand clearly. Board meeting through video conferencing. So board meeting through video conferencing was prohibited for some of the items. Like what? Approval of financial statements. They said you have to come physical meeting because it's an important matter. But now it is important or not, you have to change because people have to stay at home. Of course, you people will stay home and study. That is what you will do. But companies have to stay home and they have to function from there, especially directors and all. Approval of financial statements, approval of board of directors report, all these things used to be physical board meeting. But now government said you can do it in video conferencing. Of course, they have told something like quorum should be physically present and all, but that is little impractical. What if 4 directors are in 4 different cities? So this sometimes government will make some small errors, but I'm very sure they will look at it a lenient view if companies have done a video conferencing meeting. If 4 directors with 4 different people, still they will take a lenient view. Okay, that is what they are telling. Amalgamation, merger, takeover, even these matters, which is big in nature, you can approve by the board of directors meeting. You may think, sir, who will go amalgamation? If you see now, many startups are amalgamating because they're not able to function alone. They're joining together. Amalgamation, merger is happening. Yes, there is COVID problem. Everything is happening, but even these are happening. Even we got some calls from some of our clients that they want to join hands with other companies right now. So these things are happening, and they can do it in board of directors video conferencing meeting. So now these are the 10 wonderful relaxations which has been given. If anybody has any questions, you tell. I'll be revising right now. So I request for any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. So now before that, we are going to revise these provisions, right? We'll be revising these provisions, the 10 different amendments which are there, which will be helpful for your exam.
Hello. Yes, sir. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah. So I'll just revise these things.
Okay, sir. Great.
Yes. Now, no additional fees. Then Caro is from 2021. Then 15% debentures in the specified instruments. Then section 4 of IBC will not be applicable. Deposit receipt 20%, you don't have to worry right now. Then you have 60 days additional for board meeting. Then we have independent directors meeting is not required. Resident director provision is not required. Then additional 6 months for filing INC 20A. And obviously video conferencing meeting. So these are the revision points. If anybody has any doubts, you can tell me. Otherwise, we can close the session. In the next video, we'll be continuing with many more amendments, like Essential Commodities Act has been amended. Many more laws are amended. So we'll cover all those amendments. Fine. So I think I'm done for today.
So this one question we have received on our YouTube live. Why
Sorry?
quorum? This one question we have received from our YouTube live. Why quorum and proxy are not same?
Why?
Quorum, QUORUM, and
Quorum
proxy are not same.
are not seen.
Same. Sir, I had just chat you. Can you just click
Uh,
on chat box? You can see the question.
one.
Are not same, sir. Same.
Same.
Right, right.
Quorum and
Proxy. Proxy.
okay. So I will just so my I understand the question is why quorum and proxy are not same. Correct? I'll
Right,
just
sir. Right.
why quorum and proxy are not same. Okay. So here basically we should understand what is quorum, what is proxy. Quorum is minimum number of directors present to constitute a valid meeting. Same way it can be for shareholders. So quorum can be for directors or shareholders, but we should understand it is the minimum number of people to call some meeting as a valid meeting. So for private company, we usually say two shareholders have to be physically present to call it as a valid meeting. They may be having 100 shareholders, private company, but two members should be physically present. Then we say it is a quorum. Okay. Now, when we talk about proxy are the members who cannot come, they will send the representative. But please remember, proxy can come to the meeting, can vote in the meeting on a poll, but proxy is not counted for quorum. So proxy can come, but we don't count them for quorum. So that is why always for quorum, please ensure that the two minimum members for private company or in public company, 5 members or 15 or 30, depending on how many shareholders you have, are physically present. So proxy can come for the meeting, proxy can vote at the meeting, proxy cannot speak at the meeting, and proxy can vote only on a poll. When they take a poll, proxy can vote, but proxy is not counted for quorum. Okay. I hope you understood that concept. So proxies are basically people who are representing other shareholders, but they cannot vote, they cannot be counted for quorum. Quorum is minimum number of members to be physically present to constitute a valid meeting. If quorum is not there, we say meeting is invalid. I think that was pretty simple and clear. For more questions, if you have, you can always check out our course on SuperProfs if required. So I think I've answered that question. Any more questions do we have?
No, sir. No, sir. No more questions right
Yeah,
now.
so thanks a lot for joining everyone. We'll be joining again for the next session where I'll be coming and we'll be covering other amendments relating to this COVID. What are the other laws which have been amended?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, we can end this session for now, and we will start, guys, from 7:30 again for the final level students. And today we are today we are discussing direct tax, uh, and yes, corporate law with the Divya Meglani, sir.
All right. Thank you, everyone.